Okay, we'll start off with introductions. You like tell me like a bit more about how you two know each other, and then.
Well, I've known of you for a while purely because our schools are kind of fairly close and connected in a way. Up in like North London.
What do you mean connected?
Basically, we do a lot of.
So she didn't actually go to the same college as you?
Nah. But like we have a lot of mutuals in our schools.
Let me explain it.
Yeah.
So I went to a single-sex school. He went to a single-sex school.
Right.
Those schools are linked up, so it's like my brother's school.
Oh, I've heard of that before.
Do you see what I mean?
And they've got something like Ilford.
They have it for every boys' school and every girls' school. They'll have like their counterpart.
Is it every single one?
Yeah. Like Watford boys, Watford girls.
They're not officially connected in any way, really.
Oh, sorry, I can't be dropping names in the podcast.
Oh, no, you can if you like.
Nah, that's
Okay.
I wouldn't say that they're like connected in the same way like Watford Grammar boys and girls. I say it's more culture in a way. Like it's a bit like saying DMU and Leicester are connected. We're not connected really.
Okay.
But we have joint events and joint things more purely because a lot of people who go to the boys' school have sisters at the girls' school, know people there.
Yeah, and basically all his friends are dating all of my friends. Let's put it that way. Have dated and are dating.
People who I know.
I've heard of schools like where they have prom. They'll get the two certain.
So the first time we officially meet,
our
prom was just like 2 seconds long. I mean, most people left after the first dance, I think.
I can't lie.
Really?
Yeah.
I only know probably about 20, 30 people who would even go. Like, it was so.
Yeah, you guys didn't show up. It was all of us were there and there were no boys. Like, literally.
I can't lie. We couldn't be us. To put it like that, I don't know.
Like, that was the first time we actually officially met them or had like a proper thing with them.
Was it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we always knew unofficially, like, there's a prom. Organised by the students every year.
Yeah.
But I think it's only if you actually have friends or know people already from the school. Like, did you already know people from like?
No. See, I'm so disconnected from that. Yeah.
I know schools like Henrietta
Barnet.
Oh, okay. Oh, Barnet, near Barnet and Southgate.
Yeah.
I've been there one time. I know they've got a Bentley store up there. But when I went to Barnet, I think I was going to Barnet and Southgate High. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
But I turned up to this.
It's probably nearby our school.
I turned up to this one college and I said, I don't know if I'd come here. And one of the receptionists says, why have you got ops? I was like,
jeez.
That's how you know some of these colleges are ghetto. Like, you know Harrow College is so ghetto, man.
The reason I asked him is because me and Julius speak a lot and he said you're like the intellectual type. And when me and Julius speak, he often repeats like I went to grammar school, innit? I went to grammar school, so I don't know XYZ type of person. And we've seen some of the people we know around here and the characters that we have.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to ask you, having maybe followed Julius or seen Julius throughout him being at uni, and what he's doing now, the projects he's running, all he's like building and stuff. How does he compare? What was he like compared to back when maybe you knew of him?
I actually only met him at that party.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of you before that actually.
I only met her a few months ago now.
Yeah.
Oh, swear.
Yeah, in Leicester. It was by pure coincidence.
Literally by chance, and then I found out like how many people you know.
Yeah.
Then I was talking to people and they were like, "Oh, Caesar."
Yeah.
So he's a B-Knock.
Call him his pseudonym, innit? His
yeah.
But okay, since I thought you lot actually knew each other.
No.
We just had mutuals for a while.
Then I'll ask you then, like, how would people that you like knew from back then, what would they say about you, having seen you know?
I think they'd say that like I'd always had this side and character to me.
No, don't blame yourself. How would they actually see you?
No, how like what do you mean?
Because okay, put it like this. When I told my secondary school friends or college friends, or when they see the podcast, they're shocked. Like, they're really shocked in it. They a lot of people would say I'm not the person that they thought they knew.
Nah,
anything.
I think with me, they low-key probably kind of knew that I could do more creative things. But then being in kind of environment where we were, where everything is
academic.
like it feels like back then, academic success was almost like a currency in a way.
Yeah.
Like the more, the better you were, I don't know, maths
I would
or
say,
English.
yeah, not
the
even,
more,
yeah.
The more kind of rated you were, you'd be socially. But going back to your original question, I haven't really seen people being that surprised in a way. I feel like they're surprised when maybe when I go to certain shows and interview certain people essentially. But when I'm making TikToks and doing podcasts and stuff like that, they always kind of knew that I like creative things in a way, because I've always played piano for a long time, and that was more. Like,
yeah, that's what I was thinking of, because you were
yeah.
You was like, he's like what we say is he's like your stereotypical immigrant child. He plays piano. He's always getting sent to church. He's in grammar school. He's like the prototypical, what he's sort of meant to be, this academic, hardworking.
So am I as well.
Sort of child. But then nowadays, in unis, he's become something else of a figure in it. So I just sort of wondered like how people would view him, who knew him then, how they see him now, kind of thing.
Yeah. There's people who still have that same mindset from school. Like they'd look down on Leicester. They'd look down, like they still read leaderboards, like league tables and stuff. And back then, that was all kind of normal. It was very normal to like compare yourself with someone else who done another test. Like if you got 80, they got 60. Like it was very ego based. Like people would actually base their happiness and worth over what grades they got, and it's like, and it sounds mad to say now.
No, they don't
but
sound
back
mad.
then it felt, but back then it just felt normal in a way. Like it's not so normalized now or in this.
I think we still do that now.
I think I was shocked coming to uni.
What shocked you about Leicester?
Is that they don't have that mentality here. Even the very successful students that I've met, they have a more relaxed approach to what they want. When they go after what they want, it's more of like for them rather than the environment around them.
I see.
So that shocked me coming to uni. And yeah, I've always been motivated by seeing the people around me do better than me.
Extrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
You guys say, yeah.
Same.
And I relate to you on the point of like being pushed to do lots of different things as a kid. Like I was put in piano and ballet and like taught myself guitar. I had to like pick up all these instruments and like all these extra things to like fill out my CV, and it puts a lot of pressure on you because you've been pushed so hard to succeed in a certain way that's expected of you.
To the point where if you're not succeeding in it, and if like, let's say if you do an exam at GCSE or A level, if you don't get an A, it's like, what's gone wrong? Like, how can you not get an A?
Yeah.
Like, that's how it was.
I think that's interesting. That's why I say, like, I think about a lot, especially coming up to this, him saying, he often says, because I went to grammar school, like, I've never met X, Y, Z, all these characters. I'm different because I went to state. I'll proudly say I went to state schools because, I don't know, it's not sort of like having a chip on your shoulder, but sort of like being able to say that you sort of, you're self-made kind of person. So I'll pride myself on kind of having a feeling that I'm self-made, but I never went to no one can say, like, people get mistaken, but I never went to any kind of private or grammar school. And anytime my parents, or my mom especially, she'd bring up, I'd immediately turn that down. Like, I'd almost aggressively turn that down because I never believed in that sort of mentality. But
But
I thought, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, like, there is a huge difference between private schools and grammar schools.
No. We'll get onto that later in it. But
okay, but it's completely different.
No. I'll say private school, wherever it is in it. But it wasn't until like when I came to university I met these kind of people, and I hear them tell me their grades, or I hear them talking, or I see what they do, and I just think, what's the big deal about all of this kind of stuff? Because where we came from, we just sort of worked hard, and I don't know, we did well. We was never paying for this or that, or paying 50,000 a year, or sort. We never had. I never saw like all this super duper competition, to be fair. I'll tell you funny stories, like in school, that there was kids doing like 3 or 4 GCSEs and they still failed.
That's
They went to school.
crazy.
And there was a couple people that were bringing knives and stuff. Like, not on we got loads of gang members, but it was funny 'cause in my local area, I'd
East
tell
London.
We weren't even allowed phones in the bloody school, let alone knives.
in my local area, I'd tell people the school I went to, and they'd tell me like it used to be a behavioural school. So if someone got kicked out, they'd send you to my school, and teachers would be like, "Oh, 10 years ago." They'll be like, the whole of year 10 fighting the whole of year 11. I just laugh. And honestly, it's funny. One of my teachers even said, like, he watched a kid break every bone in his hand, punch in someone's face.
Oh
And
my
I just thought
god.
it was funny, innit? So,
That's crazy.
hearing and coming across people that went to grammar school or private school or the high achieving schools, I look at them and think, what's so special about it? What's so special about you? And I don't know. But
yeah.
One thing, Jordan, can you get like 2-minute clips of us or something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, bro.
But
Yeah.
But you said about the difference between grammar and private
It's so
school.
different.
The reason I bring that up is because the type of student who would have went to private school, maybe just couldn't afford it, ends up in grammar school. Because
Yeah, that's accurate.
that's pretty. It's just a matter of how much you pay, but they're essentially the same type of student. Because it works on some 11 plus, and I just think when you're 11 years old, how much do you expect someone to know?
It's not even 11, it's more 9 or 10.
9 or
That's
10.
not even
You
9
see.
or 10. The people who pass
Starting at
nowadays,
year 3.
they start around 6, 7. So it's
Yeah.
like, from
It's-
that age,
yeah.
you're kind of destined already to be in that path.
It's no intelligence. It's kind of coached hard work, and
Yeah.
it comes back to that thing that I saw. People think intelligence is about how highly you achieve on GCSEs and all this and that, but intelligent people do their own thing. They create things. They create things. They invent things. They discover things. They solve problems that baffle many, and that's what intelligence is. It's not really how well you can do on your exams and all this and all that. So that's why I come here and I see people, and I don't.
But we're not here to like become intelligent. That's the thing about the education system, is we're here to like get into a pathway that will take us to financial security.
Yeah.
And if we were here to actually create intelligent students,
You take some more risk.
there would be more risk, there would be more creativity, but that's not what we need in society. We need more people who can just do the job.
Yeah, basically.
Mm.
We need there's a system, and
Yeah.
I look at it like a sort of triangle in it.
Yeah.
You can't have everyone being rich. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You actually need people at the bottom.
You say that.
And even people at the bottom, meaning people at the top who are like employees of big companies.
Oh yeah,
Who've got
you
the
think
top grades,
six-figure
yeah.
salaries and all that, but they're still at the bottom. You need employees. You need your high-skilled workers, whether you be doctor, dentist, or financier, or you could be making 6 figures as a plumber, but you're still at the bottom. You need people to do the job.
Yeah.
I
that
think,
you need to
as
do.
you can say with capitalism, for people to be very rich, there has to be people who are very poor. And what would you say to that?
Now we had this argument.
Yeah.
The three of us, we were talking about if capitalism was a zero-sum game, and I think it is and it isn't. I think of life in a contradictory way.
Explain what you mean by a zero-sum game.
So a zero-sum game is like you said, for me to win, you need to lose. It's like chess.
It's like game theory.
The number of winners added to the number of losers equals to 0. That's a zero-sum game. I don't think that's true. I think it's true and it isn't true. People like you will say that is conclusively the reality of the situation. That you need people for you to win. Someone else needs to. I think that's completely wrong. I just think that's some of the picture. But what would you say to that?
Let me think about it.
Take your time, innit?
I don't know. I think maybe I have more conservative views.
Like what?
So I think capitalism benefits society as a whole. Although I don't think people really take into account like the history of the world and like how countries are affected by colonization. And it unfortunately is racist in so many ways.
Is capitalism racist?
Yeah.
Okay.
because it benefits certain people and it doesn't benefit others.
Right.
But I think it does work also
But
to an extent.
that doesn't mean it's racist. Racist means that it's like
It could be
specifically to
racist,
race,
though. It could be
how
racist.
is capitalism racist?
As in, because I feel like it's built off of a neo-colonial world. Do you see what I mean? Where we've already built in the trade systems where we take from certain countries and other countries benefit. So,
that's interesting that you say that. The example I gave these lot the other day when we recorded the last podcast, actually, I'll say it to you. I came across it's one of these Spanish countries in South America. I think it might be Cuba, but it's a socialist country. Legally, like when I say legally binding, the country is a socialist country through and through. And if you go to that country, you'll find out that cab drivers actually make more than doctors, engineers, all of that. But one of the main things, because they aggressively, like legally don't have capitalism, like they've made laws to make capitalism illegal, what you'll find out is in that country, if you go to a restaurant, the best kind of food you can get is a ham sandwich, and you're not going to get anything better than that. You come to a country like the UK, you can get you yourself can get any kind of food you want. I could call you a broke uni student. Maybe you said your two parents are doctors in this. Maybe you got more money than us. But a broke uni student can get steak, lobster. They can go gaucho, vapianos. You can go central London if you want. Blow your SFE on a restaurant in the Shard, or you can go Mackey's, KFC. There's so many different kinds of variety
opportunities
because you have incentive to do it, and it creates opportunity, which is what capitalism brings. There are obviously its disadvantages, isn't it? But you compare that to, I think it is Cuba. You compare that to Cuba, and you say the best you can get is a ham sandwich in every restaurant in the country, no matter what. They have to. You'd probably, if you want a steak, then you'd probably have to illegally import it. That's how bad it is.
That's crazy.
That's how bad it is.
And you think about whether that actually,
capitalism.
and like you talk about creating individuals who are intelligent. People can't thrive in places like that when that's like the culture and that's the norm.
Yeah.
You need
And
to have somewhere to build
actually.
to get to, and you need somewhere.
Yeah.
You need something below you and above you to know where you're going.
Right.
And where you could be if you don't continue working.
But
or
you're right. Actually,
putting in effort.
I think about that sometimes, and I think about this country. I look at the economy and stuff, and I think like people here aren't even lazy and they're not even stupid. Like this country, like, and the university and the students and the innovators actually have something to offer, but they're not able to. And I think if you watch, you'll see the best and brightest this country have to offer are running away at impeccable paces. They're going to America, they're going to Dubai, they're going to Saudi Arabia, they're going to Qatar, they're going to Singapore. And they find out, they're looking at places like London and they're laughing at it and they say, London's not anything. You can go to Singapore and the city is practically similar. You can run away to America as a doctor. And they'll say like all these things and you find out, because I've got friends who've been to these places and they live in these places and they say like when you see the stark difference between here in London or here in the UK, they'll show you that the best and brightest this country has to offer, they're escaping at any opportunity they have.
But I wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Like
I feel like with the idea myself, only because I live here and this is my home.
That's the only thing that
not
ties
for
people
that,
here, I think.
You're right.
Yeah.
It was like there is no opportunity. The tax is incredibly high.
I say this to everyone. There's so many reasons to leave. Like the weather's bad. People are grumpy.
30, man.
People are incredibly grumpy. Like the mood.
Even London versus Leicester. That's one thing I actually want to touch on. The whole mindset in London of just me. I don't care about anyone else. I just want to make as much money as I can. I don't care about community. I don't care about my neighbors. Like that whole kind of destructive mindset. Yes, you might have a lot of possessions to your name. You might have Gucci this. You might be able to eat somewhere nice or, and show off on your stories and everything. But I don't think that makes you happy internally as a person, you know. Like you go to other places, you go to even Leicester, you walk outside, people are walking at a slower pace, they're actually enjoying the weather more. And then you go further up north, I haven't actually been there myself for a while, but I've visited Leeds and I feel like the culture is just there.
There's community.
There's
People
actual
talk to you.
community there still there, and I feel like if you speak to older people who used to live in London years and years ago,
Yeah, they'll tell you.
there's community.
That
But I think-
might have existed, yeah.
But with the whole contemporary, everyone competing with everyone for scraps, that whole mindset just leads to everyone seeing every other person as a competitor, as opposed to someone you can work with. And I think that even transcends into the schools we went to an extent. The whole idea of this person's got this grade which is higher than you, meaning that they're going to be into this set, whereas you're going to be in this. Do you remember how political sets
Oh yeah,
got
remember
back
the
in
set
school?
8 memes?
That was so
my
political.
God.
Like, if you were okay, like
We didn't
if
have
you were,
sets in
like-
my school.
Oh,
so.
you know,
Yeah,
oh,
because
no, for
obviously
us-
you lot
no,
watching
we
this.
did. No. We had sets like shout out to the set 8s. Like I'm sure, like you know,
Set
you're
8
still
was so funny back in the day.
you know, but nah, like I'm happy that I wasn't like in the low sets for a lot of the time.
So what
because,
sets did you have?
by year 10, 11, we had 8 sets for maths and English.
Was that real?
Yeah. We
I
had-
thought
we-
it was
the whole
we
year
only
was into
had,
set.
we only had like set
Yeah.
1 and 2 did top tier, set 3 did foundation.
And when I tell you the set 7s and 8s just got violated, like it was peak.
That's
No way.
so mean.
It was
what
peak.
was set
like,
8 doing?
No, set 8 they would still get like well 1 to 9 now. They'd still get their 7s or grade A's, whatever, like maybe a couple of A stars. But it was a thing of like, yes, you might be still top nationally, but because you're compared with people who are in Mensa for IQ, there's people getting ridiculous scholarships at like 16, 17. When you're compared with those people, it's like to put it into layman's terms, you're like, I don't know, Burnley or Sheffield United in the Premier League. Like, still an amazing team. But when you're
in the Premier League, you're in the
playing
Premier League.
Phil Foden,
Exactly.
Kai Saka, and like Marcus
Mudryk and Haaland, innit? Like,
you're gonna look
You're
shit.
gonna get bodies.
Yeah,
Finally,
Like, and I feel like going to a grammar school can be so humbling, but it's so good in a way because you realize that no matter where you get to, how well you do by whatever metric, there's still someone who's gonna have achieved better. That is to actually be the best. You really have to be like at the top level in whatever academic thing you're pursuing. And then, and the positives are, it does make you very aspirational. It makes you have that self-belief that you can actually, you know, be at the top of whatever you're doing. But on the flip side of that, if you're not, you know, if you haven't had like a very good support system, with friends and support family, etc., that system can be very toxic for you. And you find that a lot of people end up struggling mentally. Like they might pass their exams, get into uni, whatever, but later down the line, they find just unfulfilled in themselves. And it's like, what's missing to me? Like, do you ever feel sometimes it's like, oh, I've got these grades, I've got this going for me, I've got this going for me, but there is something I still feel that I can do, which I haven't really found it. Do you ever think that or feel that's in some way?
I don't know. I have so many points for everything you just said.
Oh,
I don't even know where to start.
I did
go on
think
a
of,
monologue, innit?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have the floor.
When you were talking about the lack of community in London, I feel like London is a good example of like capitalism gone too far.
What
So I
part
feel
of
like
London are you from?
I'm from outside, like Watford.
You're an imposter.
Okay, but I was raised in London. I go to London all the time. Okay, I'm basically a Londoner.
Notorious.
For anyone from North
I'm a
West,
Londoner with a
Watford and Bushy
personality.
are
Watford
not
is
London.
half in, half out. Like, did
Harrow
you
is
did you have
London.
red buses in your area?
Okay,
Did you have-
okay.
No,
Enough with the
did you have-
there are-
slander, right?
No,
you
there
grew
are
up.
red
I'm
buses.
at the end
Shout
of the
out to
Met
258.
Yeah, 258, you know.
Yeah, come on.
Just,
Just for kids.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I feel like you have to have enough money to buy a community or to buy into a lifestyle where you can connect with other people. Like people who are like working really hard in London don't have time and don't have money to buy health and buy community and buy things that should be normally and readily accessible to most people. So yeah, I feel like there is communities, but it's expensive to be in.
You feel like they're almost gated communities in a way. in the suburbs.
Do you know what it is? Even the suburbs, you'll be surprised where you will have like a parking space and a garden, or a open space instead of cramped spaces that look like dungeons and prisons. Those houses are not even in central, but they'll cost upwards of £700,000-800,000, £1 million easily, and vast majority of them will be empty.
Yeah. What else did you have to say as well?
I've forgotten now. You're talking about grammar schools. I don't think that there was any benefit for me. I think there was in terms of like my motivation now, but I was one of those that you're talking about who suffered from. I was at the bottom of my class the whole of my school, which people here would find crazy because they don't see me in that way. But that's what I mean. My whole perception has changed since leaving school. But I was really badly affected by the competition. And that's another thing about the difference between grammar schools and private schools. So I found my friends from private schools were pushed by their teachers and pushed by their school. In grammar school, we push each other. There's no teacher. The teachers were so chill. Like they taught the lessons, but if you don't want to learn, you don't have to learn. It was the girls that were like insanely competitive and insanely driven. So do you know what I mean? Anyone's going to develop an inferiority complex if you are not near the top, or if you're not doing enough and you're not achieving very highly.
And it can be very toxic. It's particularly in those ages of 12, 13, 16. Like you at that age, you don't really realize it, but I think you realize it later on when you look back at that time and think and really reflect on how you're feeling.
Yeah, I think you must have had like more of a childhood than both of us put together, because I feel like going to a regular school, you probably would have experienced more.
It was more like, so I don't know. Have you guys heard of a place called Brampton Manor Academy?
Yeah.
It got popular because they sent all these black and Asian kids to Oxford and that.
Yeah, it's like an equivalent for us would be
like Highgate.
Maybe
North
London Collegiate or something like that.
Oh, that's a private school.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway,
any high performing sixth form,
Yeah, so it was and this is a state school. So I was gonna go there, but I ended up going to the opposition school in a place called East Town. They were ops.
He does have ops.
They were ops. Academically speaking, anyway. But if you can think of that school, you can think of the college I went to. But that's when I went to college. When I went to secondary school, it was honestly just vibes. Like,
see,
it was vibes.
I wish I had that experience.
When I say vibes, it wasn't good because looking back, like, you know when your mum says, "Don't go here, don't talk to these people," so on and so forth. Like, the kind of people that some of the kind of people that I went to secondary school with were the kinds of people my mum would talk about stay away from, kind of thing.
We didn't have those types at school. I was probably that type.
I have to
stay
look
away
back
from
and
her.
I have to look back and really say my school was bad.
Yeah. Not
because the teachers were bad or anything, but because the kind of kids that went there. It's improved nowadays. We turned to academy. Government really just gave up and said, "You lot can handle this," and but it turned to academy.
Yeah.
And, well, like I said, the kind of people that went to my secondary school, like a few people brought in knives. Some years later, you'd hear about somebody who went to the school was killed, or a sibling of this person was killed.
Yeah.
Which isn't funny, but we look back and we just thought, like, the school was just funny. Like, people would tell us that when they went to school a few years before, people would shoot fireworks in the school. Like, that's how.
Well, they'd be doing that in Leicester nowadays.
That's how the reputation of my school was. So it was honestly just vibes. Like, I'll tell the truth that do you remember like the kid in school? I don't know if you lot ever had it. That would like sell food.
No, what?
You lot never had that.
Nah, there were people selling sweets in
sweets and all
that.
Did you?
No one.
I was the only one selling stuff in my school. It wasn't. I was selling like drawings and shit. I would do like.
So
nice.
in my secondary school, like every year we'd have like one main guy who would walk around. Yeah, he'd sell like Kit Kats or chocolate waffles or Lucas.
Those are the entrepreneurs.
I was one of those people. Like for 2 years, I was I used to wake up at 6 in the morning.
Yeah, good. I respect that. That's so respectable.
I buy like 20 pounds of stock and then I walk in. You see that duffel bag that I have all this equipment?
Yeah.
I bought that duffel bag to sell food.
Yeah.
So I used to have like a fat duffel bag.
That's crazy.
Lucozades, chocolate waffles. Like when I say my school was vibes, like it was pure vibes, and
Like,
that's how I sort of built like.
but I
reputation.
swear those guys who brought
Ended up being
who
drug
brought-
dealers and stuff.
nah. The people who brought in crisps, chocolates, and all that.
Yeah.
I swear some of them got robbed.
I never got robbed. I have to say,
Did
categorically
people
no.
ever try?
One or two man tried, like, but it was girls, innit? People was trying to record me and stuff, like, if you don't give me food now, snake. I just told them, cut in it, like, I don't care.
I
told
feel
them,
like
fuck off, innit, like.
that's insane. Like, I don't know if I would have survived that. I don't know.
But I'll be honest, I'll say, like, now, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, like, one or two people might have pulled knives on me in school. Like, when I say my school was pure vibes, like, there was this one
Sounds
kid,
like violence, not vibes.
there was one kid, I'll call him seeing it. He used to chase around people with a knife as a joke. Like, we was all laughing, like, it was all a joke, innit? And then one day he walks out of the PE changing rooms and the knife falls out of his pocket on the floor. This is a pen knife, by the way. And the teacher says, "What the hell is that?" And he's fuming, and then he starts naming people like, "Yo, my friend Dino said," like, Dino saw me pick up the knife from the change room. I didn't bring it from home, innit? And my friend Josh, like, he saw me pick up the knife from, like, do you know what I'm saying? So, and then he ended up getting kicked out, and it was just lost. Like, my school was pure vibes. Back then, it was funny. Obviously, looking at it now, we realize how bad that was. Like, this isn't.
It's a little bit funny now, but
This isn't like. That's how I realized I went to a bad school, and that's how I realized when my mum would say like, "Oh, this school's bad and stuff." I never used to care, and when she used to say, "I want to get you to private school, they're a bad," I just like, go away, like, with all this, like, leave me alone, kind of thing. And she say, "Oh, let me get you a tutor." I'm like, no, leave me alone, like. Anyway, I didn't need one. I did well enough, innit? I did well enough. But
you did well enough.
I look back and think I could have done better. And I looked at college and I thought, I was top 10 in my year in secondary school. In college, I was probably bottom, out of 300 man, I was probably bottom 50 somewhere. Maybe bottom 100 in it, because there was people that did worse than me and we was COVID.
But the bottom 100 still end up at
bottom
medicine,
100 would,
you know.
Yeah, something like that, innit? So,
You're literally just placed in a different league.
yeah.
Like, for me, the big difference is...
And that college still wasn't a great... They just took the high achieving secondary school pupils in the local area.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two of them, maybe 100 or so out of that 300 went grammar school, but it was never like... You know what I'm saying? I still, like, these people were still from ends. They were still local youths.
I think...
Thing.
I don't...
It was here when I saw loads of grammar school students. Loads of private school students.
Yeah.
And I looked at them, I just thought they were wet. I thought they were not fitting the standards that I thought, like, you should be a nerd, innit? Or you went private school, how you ended up here with me?
That's so funny. That's so true. Yeah, I don't think it really makes a difference to your outcome. Unless...
There's stuff I've
All
noticed.
that matters is, I say, like, the proportion of people that might have went Oxbridge or Imperial, but even then, I come across people that I went to school with and they got into engineering, dentistry, computer science. 2 people from my secondary school went Cambridge. So they have that, but you come to find private school, secondary school, all that, I don't know, just seemed like a waste.
In a way, yeah. Especially, I think private school might actually be a waste in a lot of cases.
I disagree.
It's a waste in terms of
think
university
it's a waste?
outcome.
Do you think private school is actually a waste?
In terms of university outcome, but what they offer you in terms of enrichment, building you up in confidence as a person, the opportunities it provides you, maybe the connections.
I think
That's
you
about
guys
it.
are missing the connections, like huge on the connections and huge on the like university outcomes.
They say it's not what you know, it's who you know, you know.
It literally is. I wish I think private school over grammar school any day.
I think it matters in university because one of the reasons I wanted to go Oxford is because I looked up the prime ministers in the UK and every single one of them went Oxford, bar like 2 who went Cambridge. So if you sit there and think like, and like I said, I've got friends who went MIT and friends who went Harvard and they say like, the guy next to you, his dad's a CEO.
Yeah.
He's going to be CEO himself. This guy next to you's got a YouTube channel and he's getting 60K a year. That guy's driving a Tesla. And these people are 18, 19, 20. and you hear in Oxford, oh, this guy's going to be inheriting this, and this guy, and one of these people will be prime minister. Like, one of them will be.
It's guaranteed. Like, you're guaranteed
That's what you
success
miss
coming out of a
I
private
don't
school.
think so in terms of private school and when you're 16 or 17 or in college and all that. I really don't think that. I think people overthink it too much. I think that's my personal. But you enlighten us, innit?
I disagree completely. I think would you, looking back, would you go to grammar school if you had to do it again? I wouldn't. I would go to a private school, or I would go to a state school. I think either of those, like a decent state school.
No, that's a simple question. If you had a child or younger sibling who's about 11, 12, would you prefer them in a state, grammar, or private?
Private.
You say private, but what matters isn't where they go. It's
If
you raising them, because how much stuff like I heard there's a list published about sexual harassment and sexual assault in schools, and a lot of it's not even a few. Like there wasn't a small proportion. Like it was private schools were in that list as well. Secondary schools were in that list. Grammar schools were in that list. Like
grammar. My school, you'd even know. Like
my school, my college. Like when I went to college, there were high achievers in that college, but there was people in that college saying that there was a girl that published a thing in her Twitter, like she came out about stuff that happened to her. Like it's not where you go, it's about raising your children well, instilling values in them. And then even me, I've got a little brother. What I'm supposed to be doing is calling him every day. Did you do your work?
Yeah,
what
me
work
too.
did you do? Here's your specification. Do this now. Do these questions. Call me in 10 minutes. What answers did you get? That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
it's not about private.
Not everyone has
you have to
like the
you ain't got a
ideal.
choice,
No,
innit?
not everyone has an ideal home situation. I think if you don't, but you have the money for private school, you should go because I agree. Most outcomes are determined by like your childhood and who you have raising you. It doesn't matter if you're from like a very, very like well-to-do family. If they raise you poorly and you're raised with a certain mindset, you could end up not being very successful compared to other people who also went to private school. But I think for the best outcome, genuinely, I would put my child in private school.
Or if you had the choice, is that something you want to do? You're definitely gonna.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Like 100%.
I see. No.
100%.
No, I think I'd probably let my child go to a state school, not because.
Actually, you're right. You're right. If you're asking me as a serious question, I have to answer.
Yeah.
If you had to choose, would you put your kid in private school?
Yeah.
I say yes. But if I had to go back,
For yourself.
I would not have went to private school. I just would have worked because I did relatively well, especially for where I came from. Like when I say Newham if you look it up, Newham is one of the most deprived boroughs in this country. My school was published on a list of one of the worst schools in this country. Like
That's insane.
Oh my God, were you raised in Newham?
Yeah.
Like, did you go to primary school in Newham?
Oh, not primary school. I was born in Ireland, innit? So
Okay.
I came to Newham when I was 11.
No way. That's mad.
Yeah.
You're born in
Whereabouts in
Ireland?
Yeah, Dublin.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so mad.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I was creasing when Irish Joe came out and people are like, do you understand this? You understand? But so my school was like that bad.
Yeah.
But from where I came from, like when I say my school was bad, I'd say a good 40% of people came in were either like off the boat refugees or like Eastern Europeans who couldn't speak English or something like that. Like we had a court where man would play cricket, like Afghan man and Pakistani man. And we laugh at it now, but I think some of those people weren't even kids. Because I hear people saying this and I think, what are you on about? And I look back now, some of them ones were overly developed. But that's what I say, like, people there could not speak English. Some of them I don't think
That's
were
what I
legally-
mean. And you want me to send my kids to a state school?
No,
I mean,
Like,
come on.
Some of them men were at least like, claiming to be 14, 15, were at least 20 or something.
Like, seriously.
Like, by the age.
Another
somehow,
thing
like-
is, I think when you're put in a certain environment, you expect to live at a certain like level. Kids who go to private school do better because they're more confident. And confidence is honestly half of the job. If you have the confidence to apply for something, you're more likely to get in because you've applied. Do you see what I mean? And I think private school gives people that,
Maybe.
like that over over entitlement to what the world has to offer, and I think you need that to succeed.
Yeah, but the cost of a private school compared to, you know,
That's the thing.
the opportunity cost,
University
you know,
costs
you think about it.
£9,250 a year.
Mm.
Some private schools are like £50,000 a year.
Yeah.
And that's not even including some of the lodging ones. They might be 50,000. The
Boarding,
non-lodging
yeah.
ones might be 20, 30,000. And
Yeah.
you just think like, what are you paying for?
I think
Because you sit the same exam. You sit the same exams. What are you paying
Yeah,
for?
like-
You sit either an international baccalaureate or a GCSE.
I'm telling you
and
what they're
telling
paying
you
for.
the same information.
They're
like-
paying for the network. You're not paying for anything
But
else.
you're not paying for the network comes
Yes,
along
you
with it.
are.
You're not paying for the network.
You're paying to be around people who will benefit you later in your life.
They might benefit you later in your life.
There might be a bunch of snakes, bro.
They might.
I got a few men from my school. I can tell for I can
Because,
tell for a
guys,
fact they're snakes.
I went to primary school. My primary school was private.
I hear a lot of that stupidity. Private. Like, imagine being sick. You're learning how to read. And this
No,
3-year-old,
no.
their dad is a CEO. Like, what the hell?
I get, people often tell me that I come across like I've been to a private school because of the manners that they taught us there and the way that we were taught to conduct ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think in a professional world, it does help a lot to have that poise, and like, that's what a lot of people from state schools who are more than capable of getting really good
You
jobs.
think they're pre-selected because of the way they carry themselves?
Yes.
They're pre-selected out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it
Definitely.
disadvantages you if you don't know how to talk. in a certain way.
The ability to appear formal
Hmm.
and to come with a certain manner of tone, etc. Definitely sets people apart. You know, there's almost a way of people saying, "Oh, this person sounds smart, sounds intelligent." No, maybe they just surround themselves with people who speak in a certain way.
Okay, I want to interrupt you, man, because you remind me of something that I wanted to ask. I'm assuming everyone's just here is being authentically themselves.
We should talk about like
But let me
something.
ask you guys. Write it down. We'll come to it. What do you guys think of code switching? Do you know what it is? To code
Yeah,
switch.
yeah,
Do you know
yeah.
what it is?
Yeah.
So what do you guys make of that? What's your opinion of code switching?
I don't think I can comment on this because I don't think I code switch.
At all.
Okay, but people that
Yeah.
you see maybe.
I think maybe I code switch a little bit when I'm in Leicester compared to when I'm in London.
How do you code switch from Leicester to London?
I don't know. I just talk a little bit different. I match the accent a little bit more, like to
You
where I
think
am.
so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that a little bit. I think
Yeah.
with me,
I'll say you code switch a lot. If I
yeah,
have to be
Yeah.
yeah. I can.
I've noticed
I can,
that as well. I
I can
think.
code switch a lot.
Yeah.
Like if I'm with people from private school, people who are maybe from certain ethnicity. Like when I'm with my Asians, I'll make jokes and stuff about Asians. Like, you know,
This guy-
when I'm with black
This
people,
guy's a chameleon. He
He
knows.
brings
like,
that up a lot.
he's
Actually.
got
when
all
I'm
the
with white
colours.
people, like there's just certain phrases. Like let's say I'm with my mate. My mate Josh, I'm like, yeah, mate, a couple beers there, mate. Like, you know what I'm
Couple
saying?
beers.
Like son. Or if I'm with my my Asians, I'll be like, yes, Aki, man, what are you saying?
That's
Or
so
like,
funny.
If I'm with black people, I'll be like, you're my G. Well, go on.
No, but
Like,
the
it's
thing is,
different.
it suits you. It doesn't suit me to do that.
That's code switching in a sense because this post
Okay.
on friendship a long time ago, innit? It said, as you get older, you realize that only low maintenance friendships will survive. The ones who aren't worried about a rain check or immediate response. The ones who understand we have busy lives and own battles to fight. The ones who understand that friendship is supposed to require zero social battery or supposed to be the fun part of life. So obviously, man's now read the comments in it because I love debate, I love argument, I love discourse in
Same.
it. And people are having a war in the comments. One guy says the problem is people confuse low maintenance friendships with low effort. Low maintenance does not equal low effort. People are saying a lot of the opposing comments sound very codependent, stuff like that. This guy says sort of bullshit activity takes 2 seconds to respond, especially when nowadays everyone's scrolling through their phone. So there was many different opinions in it. And I came across that and I really wanted to discuss that with somebody and ask, I see nowadays people are so like, they have such a low attention span. They have like such low energy, so like they don't put effort into anything. And when it comes to friendships, what you come across is somebody might air you for a long time, and then you call them up about it, and they'll snap and be like, yo, I'm busy. But we live in a generation where everyone's on their phone all the time. So it's like, if you didn't respond to somebody, it's not because you were busy. It's because you made an active decision not to.
Some people don't take that well. Some people have an ego and entitlement. It's like, how have I messaged you and you haven't replied? Like, do you know what I mean?
So not even just that, but so I saw this thing, and it's on about low maintenance friendships as people get older. And I think in our generation, we have a sort of like loner, antisocial mentality thing going on. So you tell me, what's your opinion on that? And then we can chime in and sort of dissect that topic.
I mean, so I think it's very different for like relationships versus friendships. I do definitely take like
I think
really?
It's the same concept.
Really? Okay.
They're related.
You tell me.
Because I feel like it's different. Because like with a relationship, my mindset is definitely like, no man is too busy to text me. And if they don't, it's genuinely a signal to me of how interested they are or how much they want to put effort into the building a relationship with me.
Right.
Whereas with friendships, I take a completely different approach because I'm more understanding of people have their own lives and they have so many friends that it's difficult to get back to people so quickly. And I also think personally, because I have ADHD,
You're another one of them fake people, innit?
No. I genuinely have it. Okay. Like, you'll find out.
He's got it.
I have it bad.
I don't know.
He's got it.
I don't know.
And we have, it causes anxiety to have messages on the phone. People, okay, one thing I read that counters your thing is that it's only until in the last 20 years where people have developed phones and like people are expected to be constantly socializing. In say 30 years ago, you had to wait till the next day to see someone and tell them something, or you had to connect to them on a landline phone. There was no business or write them a letter. Okay, if we're going back very far.
You still had to socialize.
There was but there was a step in between reaching someone.
And people made
now it's like people are in your personal space.
Right.
All the time. You know? There is no space for yourself to even think. If I'm scrolling on my phone on Instagram, it's my purpose to socialize. No.
And I read these comments as well.
Yeah.
Like, when I say because this really resonated with me for a reason, I'll tell you in a second. Every kind of permutation of response you've said, I've read through, and I can show you in a bit. But the reason it resonated with me, especially, is because I'm an extroverted person at heart. Like, I'm a people person. I thrive off of people. I probably meet 3 or 4 different people a day. And he's probably seen this, like, I know any kind of individual, I'll talk to strangers on a bus, train. I'm a people person.
Yeah.
So when I started this podcast, I actually had a friend who I wanted to reach out to. That I wanted to, because you can't do all of this on your own kind of thing, innit? But boom, boom, bam, something must have happened. And then I think I came across this idea. People say, oh, you realize you'll find out who's really your friend if you stop reaching out to them, innit? So one thing happened now. I don't think it was a fight or anything, but I've stopped messaging this guy. And many people in it, but I stopped messaging this guy. And a month went by, 2 months went by. Eventually, 7 months went by. 7 months went by. And I've started this podcast, and I'm thinking about all of these people I used to shout, I used to say hello to. I see them about, I say, yo, what you saying, wagwan, all that. I call them, I message them. Like, these men aren't hitting me up, innit? Like, so eventually I started the podcast. What now happens is, the guy I wanted to start the podcast with, this guy still ain't shy, man. But a girl he knows, I started the podcast with her, my first guest. She knows this person, innit? I've started the podcast. Me and her are starting to become a little bit close. She's now like first episode of podcast, front picture. Cool. You know what I'm saying? This guy still hasn't said anything. So it's made me think about, you know what I'm saying? When you don't reach people out or reach out to people, you'll see who will reach out to you, and that will determine to you who's your real friend. And you're saying all this about people are busy. And when I've read all of these replies, thinking about all the different angles, people can go by years, months without saying a word to you. That's what people mean by low maintenance, low effort friendships. And the people who are against this post, they read the caption and they're seeing somebody just making more excuses in a day and age where people are glued to their phones 24/7. So if a person doesn't text you, they don't call you, they don't reply, they're making a statement that they don't give a fuck about you. So when I saw that, and I'm thinking about my man, who I wanted to hit up for this podcast,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about him, and I'm thinking about all the other people that I wanted to hit up, and I'm like, calm. So I've not said yo to you, man, in how long?
Yeah.
You man ain't said nothing to me. We're not friends.
I
We're
don't know.
clearly not friends.
I don't think so.
You might say that, but then
I have friends that I meet once a year. I have
But
friends that I
that's-
meet once every 2 years. But do you know why the friendship
but
works?
that's an understanding between
Yeah,
them. I'm talking
that's
about
what I
people
mean, yeah.
I used to hit up on a regular.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I've realized I've hit them up.
Yeah, fair
I've
enough.
hit them up. The minute I've stopped hitting them
Yeah.
up, they've made zero effort.
But can I ask you something?
But go for it.
Do you think those people don't want a friendship with you, or do you think that you have different views of what you want your friendship to be? So your expectation of them is not the same. I think low maintenance friendships work when you both have the same expectation. Okay, I'll hit you up in a year and we can go out and like have lunch and like catch up on everything that's happened in the last year. Whereas these people that you were messaging first, they probably still wanted to stay in contact, but just not as frequently. Do you see what I mean? Like,
See,
if you were able to adjust your expectations of them, maybe the friendship could have continued.
that's an argument. Where I'll stop you there is, friend is a very, very big word.
Okay.
What you mean by friend is different from person to person. What I'll say is, to counter what you're saying actually is, I have to give it a thought, but if me and you are friends, for example, right? Cool. Now I've started reaching out to you, right? I've ghosted you, for instance.
Okay.
It's not that I've ghosted people, it's that I've ghosted you.
Yeah.
But I'll still shout my boy every day, yo, do you see the match? Yo, do you wanna come play pro clubs? Do you
Yeah.
wanna study? I'm now, to give an example, specific example actually, I'm now remembering what's precipitated this is, I've started to realize that this guy would have motives and stuff, like he'd have a barbecue and he wouldn't invite man. Like I'd clock that in
That's
it.
a bit shit. Yeah.
He wouldn't invite man in it. So
Yeah.
then, cause now what's happened is, what's now made me think this way is, somebody else has hit me up, yo, I'm heading to this barbecue run by so and so. Are you gonna turn up? And I'm like, so and so's having a barbecue,
Yeah.
he's not shouted, man.
Yeah.
it's
I
like,
agree with that. I
do
agree
you
with
go
that.
or not?
But in person is so different.
But
I think.
it's not just like, I don't want to just make this about phones and technology. It's about friendships in general. So 2-2s, I've now made a decision. Cool, I'm not gonna reach out to my man. In fact, if I see him in public, I'm not gonna go out of my way to wave at him, because I do that for most people. We'll see what I want, and then I've started to now realize, okay, it's not these friendships I've had with people. They're not as like, they're not putting the effort.
It's very easy. It's very easy to get into one wave friendships if you're not.
I think if you're not aware
if you don't have awareness of the other person's perspective, and you need to understand whether they're friendships or
On the same
relationships,
level, yeah.
whether
that resonated with me, because I think introspectively, and I look at some friendships in it that I have, or like I said, you use the word friendship loosely, and then you look at like how much effort you might put in for some people and how much effort you're receiving back. I've now heard from so and so that XYZ has had a thing, and he's like, are you rolling? He's like, oh, roll. I'm thinking to myself, I'm not rolling because he didn't invite me. Cool, I'm gonna stop calling my man. I've stopped calling him. Now we don't speak, and 7 months have gone by. Eventually we speak. I tell him about all this, and he's got his reasons. But that post, I'm thinking about what people have in general, about how much effort some people put into friendships. And the post sort of made an excuse about, this low maintenance friendships, if I cancel it's okay, or if I don't get back to you for 6 months it's okay. And then I look at the people who think opposite to that, and I think you're just accepting people who want to make an excuse for not putting in the effort, taking 3 weeks to reply to a simple message. We have phones for a reason. Or, you know what I'm saying? If we want to set up a meet, sure, you don't want to go to Hakkasan, but if it's just six man them just linking, why are you making excuses every week?
Okay, but you're
So what do you
making
think about that? What do you think about that?
You're talking about so many different like things that go into maintaining a friendship.
Yeah.
I think for me, I can do low maintenance, and I can handle when a really close friendship becomes a low maintenance friendship. I can handle that transition.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will not, there are certain things that to me signal that the friendship is over, or we're not on the same page.
Yeah.
Is if they don't invite me to events
Yeah.
or things that are important to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because then that's like, okay, I'm not a priority for you. You would have been at my event. I'm not at yours. There's a difference there. And then the thing about like cancelling last minute, that's another thing where it's like, you don't want to give me your time.
No, I think
we're on different pages.
Yeah, true. But I think that post in itself was talking about, people getting older, having kids, stuff like that. And then people are like, if my child is sick, I'm gonna cancel on you.
Yeah.
But and then people will be like, okay, I understand that,
We're not at that stage yet.
Obviously,
but think about what we would do if we had kids. Like I think
or
anyone
kids, or
would.
a job interview, or uni degree, or people might cancel for a reason, but a low maintenance friendship might mean, or we don't have to go out all the time and do something extravagant. Or people nowadays, let's go march, this, that, and other. When I chill with my friends, it'll usually be like 4 men sitting in a room just busting convo, innit? It doesn't have to be.
So let me ask something. So would you say relationships are more important to you than friendships?
What do you mean
would
relationship?
You say, because we were talking about low maintenance, and you said that you take the same approach to friendships and relationships.
Yeah. When I say relationship, a relationship means like the connection between a set of people, innit? So your boyfriend or your best friend or your girlfriend or your husband, it's all the same thing, innit? It all requires some level of effort or some level of love between. You can love your friend, you can love your boy, or you can love your girl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can tell them I love you even though they're not romantically entangled in it. Obviously, if your wife or husband or your boyfriend or girlfriend is constantly saying, I'm busy, cut that person off. I'll tell you that for a fact. I cut that person off immediately, innit? They don't care about you at all. Like, they don't care about you. That's what I was saying, it. But even for a friendship, I'll say if a person's constantly saying, I'm busy, that person needs to be cut off. That's the reason I stopped talking to that guy who didn't invite me to that thing. Not because I was particularly angry, because when I hear like, oh, don't call them and see if they call back, that's an admission that they don't give a fuck about you. Because they'll call back their other friends, they'll not call back you. That's why that thing resonated with me. And I love discourse, I love people's opinions, I love the back and forths. So I saw the people who would say otherwise to that person. I love the people who would say for that post, innit? Because they'll show people's perspectives on the thing, innit? But the people who were against it, they'll say, you lot are just making excuses because, cool, we don't have to go to some fancy restaurant. You don't have to spend 2 hours putting on your makeup. We can just sit down and chill and talk, and you talk about how life's been. That's good enough, but you lot are making excuses for simply that. If I send you a message, cool, you might have kids, you might have your job, you might have whatever reason you have in it, but if you're taking 2 months to reply to, hey, how you doing? You don't care, like, because it just takes a sec. Just say whatever your situation is and be like, oh yeah, I've got all these things going on. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously it wasn't made by people our age, it was made by people older in it.
Yeah.
And the page was saying as you get older in it, that's why people were talking about kids and jobs and all that stuff in it. So that's why I'm more for, I have to vehemently disagree with you when I say that people who are of that position, I think they're making an excuse. Because they'll make effort for some people, they're just sort of not making effort for you. And if you're the kind of person that you really cut off all your friends, you're saying friendships don't matter to you, which is an anti-human thing.
I just think, like...
But go on, what do you think?
I think that, for me, I agree with you on the extroverted thing. I'm very similar. I can talk to people in real life. But it is draining to reply to people continuously on my phone. And I do, every time like I start a friendship with someone, I will literally preface and say, by the way, I do have ADHD. I'm not making it an excuse to not reply, but I'm just letting you know that sometimes online interactions can be draining for me. And I feel like having that level of self-awareness, and being able to then communicate that to other people so they are aware that it's not a personal thing. I do want to continue the friendship with you. If I don't reply, that doesn't mean anything. Like, I can literally, because these friends
Reply for how long though? That's what, like, how, because you might have your ADHD situation, but what's the limit? If you don't reply to a person for a month.
Because, and on the other hand, I've been on the receiving end of being aired for like months, and I don't take it personally from my friends.
I'll tell you now.
I don't take it personally from my friends, genuinely.
If you air me for a month, you'll get blocked.
Because I think you are holding a lot. You're placing a lot of emphasis on friendships as a relationship in your life.
Yeah,
for me, I haven't placed it a lot.
Everything requires a minimum amount of effort. If you're not even doing the bare minimum, which is, some people reply after a day or two. If you're not responding after a month, that's really saying a lot. And I look at it like, imagine I'm sitting next to him, and he might have ADHD because he'll zone out. If I say, yo, what time are we doing? If I say, what time are we doing this? And he's not saying a word, scrolling, I'll just be like, what's wrong with you, bro? Because
obviously
I see
in
that.
person, I just think it's so different.
People do the same thing, whether it being over the phone or on Snap or on WhatsApp. I still think it's the same thing. You're exhibiting the same pattern of behavior where you're demonstrating you're not worth the response. You're not worth the effort.
Okay, I disagree, because I feel like I only got a phone when I was in like year 9. Not a phone, but I only got social media when I was in year 9. I put it off for a long time, and I think maybe you can call me old fashioned, but I'm not the same online as I am in real life. Like, if you want to get like interaction with me, I will give you my full attention. I will never check my phone at a dinner table. Because I'm in person. But then you want to like message online and chat, it's just not going to happen. And there's some people who are just like that, and you just have to accept that there's people who are like that.
Nowadays, everyone has ADHD. Everybody has ADHD.
Oh God, now we're going to start this chat.
Like, who diagnosed you, bro?
Not everyone has ADHD, you guys.
My man's got ADHD. I got ADHD. Like, some people
You don't have ADHD.
Some people are like, I'm a disorganized individual.
That's not how that works.
That's not, I've got
That's
disorganized.
literally not.
But every man will say, oh, do you know what? I'm sorry about that, bro. I think I've got ADHD. Like,
but it's not a think. It's like an actual.
I think people.
It's a different.
Yeah,
I've diagnosed.
I think there's a lot of unawareness.
Yeah.
Of ADHD.
There's a lot of misinformation about ADHD.
But of the 10 million people who think they got ADHD, maybe 100, maybe 50, 20,000 have
It's not even them. It's probably clinicians, psychiatrists.
And it's not even about me having ADHD. I could be a neurotypical person who just feels exhausted with online interaction. That's what I'm saying.
The post, like, I looked at every comment. I can read, especially when it comes to debate. I can read all type of opinions. People nowadays, when did the word social battery come from? Seriously, sincerely, like, when did we invent the word social? Imagine you're at a dinner table and you're not responding to be like, yo, how was work? You know what? My social battery is drained. I'm not going to respond to you.
Because
that's such a weird thing.
But that's the thing. It also depends on like cultural background and communities.
We do live in a generation where people are scrolling. Instead of watching the 50,000 TikTok, say to your boy, yo, wagwan. Like, what's going on?
You are speaking purely as an extrovert, and I'm here to represent all the extroverts who are secretly introverts.
Everyone's an introvert. That's what I'm saying. The post, that's why it resonated with me, because I saw every type of person, they're sort of going through a struggle where it's like their friends or their boyfriend or their girlfriend. It's the same thing for a relationship, because your husband or wife or your boyfriend or girlfriend might say to you, I'm busy. You're really just saying...
Busy doing what?
Like, you're sort of making...
I agree.